Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 26 of Sign of the Dark House, a Gothic Horror 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons podcast. Since this is Gothic Horror, there might be some content that viewers might not want to view, such as violence, blood, gore, body horror, child endangerment, mutilation, other such things. If there is anything that you come across that you find unsavory or that affects you negatively mentally, please take a break. Your support means a lot to us, but so does your mental health. So where we last left our group of intrepid heroes, they had just exited the strange chamber full of aberrations and rejoined up with Rerek, who assisted in helping the university try and figure out what is going on with Belladonna. Finding very little information, he was sent back to his compatriots at the mine, where they hatched a plan to embarrass the owner of the mine due to his smarmy and slimy behavior. They tricked him into stripping naked, running to the deepest part of the mine, and invoking the name of Hersum, the Prince of Fools and the King of Satyrs, as a little joke. They then left, spent the night at Percy's parents' house, whereupon he found just how intrusive these new whispers can be. Upon waking up, they discussed his predicament, went to the cathedral, and has attempted to have Archbishop Sherman remove his curse, only to find that it is a very tricky curse to remove. Upon exiting, Percy lied to his compatriots, saying that everything was fine and everything was fixed. And they went to the house, where they went to the garden, which they had not explored yet, to find it strangely lush and verdant. After a brief conversation with a nonverbal mushroom woman, they headed down the path to find a human, a living human on the grounds of the property, who seemed to not be aware of the state of the rest of the house. And it is there where we have left off, with you a little bit down the path, discussing what exactly is going on, since Jasmine was unable to detect other humanoid creatures anywhere in the garden. And yet, you've met one.
Yeah, all that's here is plant life, as far as Jasmine's nose is concerned, and I haven't ever been led astray by her sniffer before.
When I did the identify detect magic, do I know which parts of the area was affected by the transmutation and evocation magic?
A lot of the plant life was, and the human woman was.
Okay, I was about to ask that.
Uh-huh. Did you find anything, Rerek? I know you were doing a little investigating.
Right. So a lot of the plants has transmutation magic on them, including the willow lady. So she might be human, but I feel like there's something else behind that.
Lark, you seemed like you had a thought.
Well, I mean, so like above game, Lark was born and grew up in a magic garden, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, I feel like it's not that far of a stretch for him to be like, maybe she's actually just a plant and doesn't know it.
A human named Willow, who's not a human, and all Jasmine can smell is plant life.
So yeah, in character, Lark's just gonna be like, I mean, I saw stranger things back home when it came to this sort of thing.
Stranger
Well-
than what is ostensibly a tree that has been turned into a person.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you come from a very strange place indeed then.
I think a good place to start would probably be the head gardener.
Yeah, if we can find it, should we maybe perhaps ask Willow where she can? No, she just told us to search about, which
Yeah.
I've attempted to do. Jasmine can't smell anything other than the plants. I am at a loss as to how to locate him other than aimlessly wandering, which doesn't seem like the wisest solution.
Well, I wonder if they'd notice if we did something to the garden. That would bring a gardener faster, wouldn't it?
If you suggest setting the garden on fire, you know what? Just don't. Just don't.
Oh, nothing.
And then I
that
just-
dangerous, darling.
And then I pull my staff back down. I'm like, oh.
Perhaps we could just step on a few flowers.
Well, she did deliberately ask us to not do that.
That's sort of my point.
Well, wouldn't she just come back over here?
I guess we won't know until we
You can't-
try.
We could spend 5 minutes looking for this man before we start stepping on flowers.
Well, at this point, we've spent 5 minutes having this conversation. I mean, look away. Feel free. You know what? Actually, one of us can fly. Could we maybe get a butterfly's eye view?
Lark will fly upwards and see if he can spot anything.
Perception check, please.
Okay.
Above game, always forget how useful that can be. Like,
It's real
Ooh.
useful.
I can also fly for like 10 minutes.
I got a really crappy roll. I got a 4 + 3 is 7.
Ooh. There's a lot of flowers. There's a lot of topiaries. There's a lot of trees.
I don't see anything.
Well,
look harder. They have to be here.
are there any other buildings here besides the greenhouse?
There is a reflecting pool by the greenhouse.
Okay.
A very large rectangular reflecting pool.
So
Oh.
yes, there's a reflecting pool by your greenhouse, and that could be a place that people think they're people when they're not people would go.
This is too much for me.
Let's go to that place.
I have a feeling we're going to have to go to the greenhouse at some point quite soon. And if I had to guess, Willow made it sound like the head gardener is not quite so active out in the gardens. And maybe he'll be in a building like the greenhouse.
The one with the undead inside.
That's the only building around, so
Okay. Well, then I guess Bo's ready. So, all right. Arthur just starts walking greenhouse
yeah.
way.
I mean, the greenhouse is glass, right? Like you could look through it.
Yes.
Can I just...
It's kind of fogged up a little.
Okay.
Like
Well, can
pollen
I
has
try to look
settled on
through
it.
the foggy glass and see if there's like a person or something to be moving in there?
Wait,
You
was
are very far away from the greenhouse. You
can
will
we go
have to
over
step
to it?
off
Yeah.
the. Yeah. You
Wait,
walk
so
through-
Willow wasn't? Sorry, Willow wasn't in the green. I thought we were in the
No,
greenhouse.
you're
No.
still on the path.
It confused the hell out of
The
me.
greenhouse was kind of off the way a little bit.
Right.
So as you head, there is a quite large patch of grass that presumably would allow you to walk without stepping on the flowers. You pass by some very strategically placed trees that seem to line the edge of this reflecting pool. The reflecting pool unlike the rest of the place, is disgusting. There's all kinds of algae growing in it. And there's even another one of those huge rock things covered in mushrooms that just seems to be sitting in the pool, occasionally seeming to shift a little bit and blow bubbles in the water. And you do see an incredibly strange sight as you are standing next to the reflecting pool. You see another human woman, except this time much younger, blonde, curly hair that's pulled into a ponytail. And she is walking backwards with a bag in her hand that looks like a bag of fertilizer that she has a large clump of. And she seems to be saying, "Come on, come on, come on." And stumbling after her is a corpse. But this corpse has vines growing out of it and several large yellow flowers that are waving ever so slightly, almost as if they're somewhat sentient. And it's stumbling after her. "Come on, come on. You know you want some. Come on." As it just is just trudging after her.
How quaint.
I guess I'll wait to see her finish whatever this activity is before I go approach her.
Now, she seems to be leading it towards the greenhouse. And as she gets to the greenhouse, she quickly kind of opens the door and keeps holding this fertilizer or mulch out for this thing as it stumbles towards her. She seems to be trying to get it to go back into the greenhouse.
Above game, would I recognize this as one of the undead that I sensed earlier?
I would say yes.
Okay. So I'll I guess say to Percy. So that's one of the creatures I sensed earlier. Well, at least this one is one of the undead that I recognized here.
Okay. They're keeping undead in the greenhouse.
It appears so. Purposefully,
right.
I might add.
Hello?
At this point, she has kind of shut the door. And she just turns, "Oh, hello."
Hi.
So there's a dead body.
Yeah. What was that?
Oh. Sorry, who was...
I didn't catch Lark.
Oh, Lark just said, "And now that's how you use a dead body," and starts like slow clapping.
Okay.
Well...
Hi.
Well.
I'm Percy Kruetzwald. These are
Oh,
my friends here.
they didn't tell me there was more family coming.
More family? Are there other family members here?
Well, the Kruetzwalds.
That's who's in the undead?
No, those are just random bodies they got donated from the Darkmoor University. They were done using those cadavers. Anyway. Oh, those are yellow musk flowers. They're slightly parasitic. They quite enjoy living in dead bodies and puppeting them. They're very rare and they're nearly extinct. But Dorothea really likes them, so what can you do?
Dorothea. Question mark.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time you saw Dorothea?
A while ago. I don't quite remember. At some point she stopped having her daily walks through the garden, and She just stopped. I don't quite remember when, but it's been a while.
Okay.
You might say that. Yeah.
Is your name plant-based too?
What is your name, if we could ask?
Oh, my name is Julia. Julia Weaver.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Julia. I was trying to find the head gardener. If you could point me in their direction.
Oh, yes. He is currently making sure that the yellow musk zombies have their daily nap in their fertilizer beds. You know, if they don't get their daily fertilizer, they get a bit cranky and a bit nibbly. So to keep that from happening, we put them in fertilizer beds. It seems to do the trick pretty well. But you know,
Right.
sometimes they're like toddlers. You really gotta convince them to go to bed. And this one decided to make a run for it. You know.
So he's inside the greenhouse then,
Yes.
of course. Would it be bothersome if we went inside to speak with him, or should we wait for him to come out?
No, I don't think so. He probably has most of the yellow musk zombies in bed already. So it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Just, you know, try not to make any loud noises.
Of course. Well, we can go do that. It's been lovely speaking with you. I'm sure our paths will cross again sometime soon.
Of course. I'm going to be elsewhere, of course, but I'm sure you'll be able to find me. And she picks up her bag of fertilizer and just starts walking off into the garden.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to look at Arthur and be like, does Jasmine say she smells like a human or not? Interesting.
No, nothing here but the undead and the plants.
Honestly, Percy, your ancestor had good taste.
Yeah,
In what way?
Where that Dorothea seemed to like having undead around, just as a sort of botanical attraction. But apparently the man we're looking for is right here, so we'll open the door and head inside.
After you.
The door you've opened and passed through seems to be like almost a side servant's entrance. You are almost immediately greeted by a trellis almost right in front of the door. There is enough room for one person to walk along, but it's presumably a sort of gardener's back pathway to get to places in the flower beds without crossing them. But it's pretty easy to find that there are paths. It's set up like a wheel. There is a central bed, and then there are various beds around with paths in between them. And the main entrance, these beautiful glass doors. There are a variety of interesting tropical looking plants. There's one that looks like a giant Venus flytrap. There's a few beautiful flowers that they look like orchids, but they come in clumps of 3, a red one, a yellow one, and an orange one. There are vines that seem to slither like snakes and undulate, twisting around their trellises almost absent-mindedly. There's various other strange flowers, including a whole bed of these yellow flowers with various things like arms and feet poking up out of the dirt. And a half-elf man is gently pushing presumably the very yellow musk zombie you saw walk into the greenhouse, and pushing it, trying to gently encourage it to lay down in a freshly dug hole in the dirt. and it finally does as you approach. And he turns. Oh, just in time. I managed to get this one to bed. Can I help you?
Hi, it's nice to meet you. My name is Percy Kruetzwald. These are some of my friends. We are, well, the house, the property just transferred to my name. So I was just coming to inspect and take a look around. It's a very impressive garden you keep here.
Yes. Oh, we weren't told that the house changed owners. At this point, you hear another voice. Strangely in your mind, no, we were not informed of this at all.
Is there someone speaking to us in our minds here? Who is that?
Are you doing okay?
Everyone heard that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's unsettling. That okay.
Was that you, sir?
Oh, no. I guess you don't know Malice. That would be that one over there. And he points to the center where there is a huge, almost like a flower bulb that hasn't bloomed yet, with many vines that are kind of waving in the air ever so slightly, and it twists in the ground, the dirt grinding. Yes, it is lovely to meet you. It's been so long since we've had visitors. Yeah, it has. Well,
that's the talking plant.
Yes, do keep up. It's not that uncommon.
Okay.
I think, Lark, in this situation, it is a valid question. That is a Malice is your name, I understand?
Yes, it is lovely to meet you.
Likewise.
And how, pray tell, did you come by that particular moniker?
It is an old name. I quite like old names.
Fair enough.
Right. See, have I gotten your name yet?
Oh, I am Elias Cottonwood, head gardener, of course.
Pleasure.
Of course.
So, Malice, darling, what are you doing here?
Well, I could ask the same of you.
Oh, this is one of your friends.
No, I don't come from there, but I saw it. I passed it a while ago, when I was still a pod.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Elias, I guess I was hoping to talk to you. You were employed by Dorothea, right?
Yes, that is correct.
I just kind of looked at the group like, how should we do this? Should we even bother?
Lark's just looking at Percy like, there is what literally just admitted it's an interplanar entity sitting over there, and you're going to talk to the brainwashed half-elf. Like, he doesn't say it, but he has this deadpan look on his face.
Yeah, sure. Percy's like, okay, why don't, would it be possible for us to speak with Malice privately, Elias?
Oh, yes. Of course. Um, I should probably help Willow with the tulips. She's been having a lot of trouble with those.
Yes, the cold.
Yes, the tulips. They are lovely. I quite like them. You should. And he nods and walks out of the greenhouse.
So
So,
What?
darling, were you here before the house fell or after? I'm just a little curious.
Oh, I was here before the incident.
Am I to understand you're the one truly managing this garden?
In a way, yes. It is under my protection. It is by my design.
Of course. Could, could I ask, we've picked up that your friends here that you help manage the garden with, they're not truly living people, are they?
In a way, yes. In a way, no. I've given them my protection.
All right. They seem happy, to say the least.
As they should be.
If not a bit out of sorts.
They've been kept alive for much longer than would be their natural lifespan.
Yes, they have been spared what has happened to this place.
Given that you've been here that entire time, I would think that it would be intelligent of us to think of you as an ally as we make our way through these grounds.
Of course.
I see no reason to bother you, as far as I understand, all you are doing is keeping my family's garden in excellent condition. So would it be all right if we asked you questions about the history of the house?
As well as I can remember, yes.
Well, do you know what happened the night that my family disappeared?
I do not know the exact events that transpired, but they were preparing for something for months ahead of time. Dorothea came here to look at her telescopes and to look to the stars. Then they gathered, and whatever they did, the sky turned green, and then the world seemed to shatter. But I kept this garden together, and I will keep it together for as long as I am alive.
So how were you able to repel what's corrupted the rest of the house?
Very simple. I know it in my own way. I do not know your words for it, but it does not like me. It does not like where I am from. And so it stays away. I feed life into the garden. It gives me life back.
Where are you from exactly?
Many places from beyond the stars.
Okay. I don't know why we expected a clear-cut answer from an interplanar plant. No offense.
And you were friends with Dorothea.
Yes.
Is she who brought you here?
Yes. She found me with her telescope. She called me from the void. I remember that day. falling through the sky, burning up, passing many other worlds on the way here, and landing. And then she put me in the soil, she watered me, she let me have sunlight, she cared for me.
Did you
And
come from the
then
Orichalcum meteor? Right.
many things have fallen from the sky here. They knew how to find things from these places, how to call them forth. I was one. There are many others.
Such as?
Well, funny you should ask. Dorothea's very lab is above me right now. You can go and look at it. See what she's doing. What
Oh,
she
I
has
think
done.
very much that that would be wise.
Now, Malice, darling, aren't you concerned with the infestation that's going on in the garden and was in the maze?
What infestation? All things are as they should be. All things are as I allow. If I did not want them here, they would not be here.
So you're okay with Mother's little children running around and eating all the plants?
Yes. They don't eat all of the plants, and they stay where they're told. They're quite obedient. If they stepped out of line, I would not be very happy, and they don't like it when I'm not happy.
Okay, not creepy at all.
We've been very helpful, Malice. Could I ask you one last thing? The house. Do you have any insight on what could be waiting there for us?
Sadly, I've never been to the house. Dorothea always came down to me. She never left me. She never brought me to the house. She left me here. But I'm
I
sure
think-
there are all kinds of things there in the house.
Oh, I am sure. I think maybe we should check out Dorothea's lab.
Definitely.
Yes, of course. It is this way. And the giant plant shuffles and makes some motions with a tendril to a spiral staircase that rises up from the bed that it's in. It is up here.
Thank you. I'll head up.
Yep, right behind you.
Oh,
Oh, we lost Nino.
We lost Rerek.
Oh, his computer has restarted.
Uh-oh. That is not good.
Okay. Well, I am going to take the opportunity for a pee break really quick if we're waiting on his computer to start back up.
sure.
Testicle difficulties.
Yep.
I like Malice.
Apologies, we had a little bit of technical difficulties, a little technical snafu, but we soldier on. So as you head up the spiral staircase to a platform which is inside of the onion dome of the greenhouse, you find it is full of alchemical equipment. Various plants have been stored in jars and labeled, as well as various books are out. A mortar and pestle is out. And there are vials of a variety of different liquids, some of which have seemed to have dried inside of the container, some of which are still liquid. She also has various telescopes that have been set up, various star charts that have been laid out. And it seems nothing has been disturbed.
Well,
Wow.
Percy, I mean, this is your ancestors' place. So
Yeah, perhaps one of you could look into the magical nature of things. I'm not an expert.
Can I do an investigation check?
And I'll do an investigation check. Maybe someone else could like Arcana or something here.
Yes, you may do. Anyone who would like to do an investigation check can do an investigation check.
yeah, why the hell not?
First has a 17.
Mhm.
Three.
Oof.
19.
11.
Mm.
Yeah.
With the exception of Lark, who is kind of looking around a little bit confused, you notice there are lots of plants that are labeled as being poisonous. Some are labeled as being hallucinogenic in nature.
Hot dog.
There are also vials that have been labeled as experimental hallucinogens. And there are various vials of poisons, although it seems most of the poisons have dried up. Additionally, whoever got the highest investigation check, I don't remember who.
I think that was, yeah.
It's me.
You find what is very obviously a spell scroll. However, you cannot read it. Its magic is too bizarre and alien and eldritch to fully understand.
Can I just use comprehend? It's just only for spoken. Is comprehend languages only for spoken languages?
No, you can read it, but it does not affect spell scrolls.
Oh,
So you can comprehend languages on a piece of written words, but not on spell scrolls.
can I just identify it then?
Yes, you may. So if you're doing a ritual, you'll have to wait. If you're using a spell slot, I can tell you instantaneously.
I'll just use a spell slot.
All right. It is a spell scroll of Hunger of Hadar.
Dang.
What the hell?
And coincidentally, there is also a book open to a image of what appears to be a red star destroying planets. And the article labels this creature as Hadar. And this is a full book, but it's open to somewhere in the middle.
Rerek, what have you found?
Excuse me. A spell scroll that I don't understand. So I use one of my spells to identify. It's called Hunger of Hadar. And it looks like Hadar is this extraterrestrial object. Wait, did you say it was a red what?
It's a red star.
Star.
I can't
That's the
say I'm
book say.
familiar, but that that doesn't look friendly at all.
Definitely not.
Can I do it? Do I know who this is? Can I do like a like what that is? Like, can I do a history check?
You actually do not need to, because the book
Oh.
is open to plain common text.
Hell yeah.
A paragraph.
Who Hadar?
Basically, Hadar is a almost deity of the far realm. It is known as the Red Star, and it devours entire planets whole, sucks them in like a black hole, destroys them utterly to fuel itself. Aside from that, not very much is known about it, mostly because, in a way, once a warlock of some kind who is devoted to Hadar gains enough of its power, it eats away at the warlock's mind, almost as if it is eating a planet. It seems to only want to fill itself. And
Well,
Why?
that is what you get.
Why,
is it
in the
with the
name of
family
all the
and-
liquor, why would they want to summon something like this?
is that what this scroll does?
It appears so.
Perhaps you should study that scroll for a while, Rerek. And see what
Yes.
you can learn from it.
Yes. Put it in my inventory.
What do you
Well-
think the odds are? Just a thought that all of those crystals back in the mines were practice for this.
For whatever happened that
Oh.
night.
They intended to do the same thing. You know, you might be onto something there, Lark. Perhaps if their hubris, the unimaginable hubris, was such that they believed that they could imprison and utilize such a creature. I mean, for what purpose? I can't imagine. Though
Greed
it
is one of the
evidently didn't
easiest-
go well.
Greed's one of the easiest ways to manipulate the mortal heart. It's
True. And the other aberrations that we've dealt with have certainly been more than willing to make any number of promises in order to gain what they desired.
I will say there is also, you notice, a bookmark sticking out of the book, but it is not on the page that has Hadar.
Ooh, what's that bookmark
Okay.
do? I'll flip over
Yeah.
there.
You
Let's
flip
read it.
to it, and you all see an illustration of something surprisingly familiar. A
Here we go.
moon with many mouths and many eyes, surrounded by flying demonoid creatures. It is called Dun, the Chained Oblivion. As you read, it is incredibly old, and it is incredibly insane. Additionally,
Can you spell that? Can you spell its name?
Tharizdun.
The what?
There is done.
The chain?
The Chained Oblivion.
It isn't that quaint. You got a
It's
lot
a
of
word.
And what were you about to say before I interrupted you?
Lark's just he's just like, gods, I wish I wasn't trapped on this plane at this point. Ah,
Hubris, the unimaginable and unmitigated hubris.
I wonder how many apocalyptic things are in this book.
Probably a lot, because you've seen two
Quite
of
a
them.
few. Yeah.
As you read on, there's a lot of, at this point, what looks like pen marks, things circled, underlined, highlighted. Dun drives everything insane. That is its sole seemingly goal. but the gods banished it to the far realm, back to where it came from. But there were enough worshippers that there were 3, which the names are unknown, who managed to, even by a single finger, hold on to Tharizdun and keep him from totally vanishing into the far realm. They were nicknamed the Chains. Additionally, there is an article about a prophecy of when Tharizdun will return to the material plane and warp it to its own desire. That the chains will need to bind it to the material plane, and a being known as the Great Beholder will come and behold it appearing from the far realm and being pulled into our reality and end all that is there. There is no specified number of chains. And in fact, there is a note in the margin near that in a slightly different handwriting, a more feminine handwriting, that just says, Wolfgang, I don't know if this is a good idea. And that's all it says.
Is it Wolfgang?
So Wolfgang was looking to utilize this creature in some way, or perhaps just for sheer giggles, summon it to, I don't know, destroy the entire world?
For a wizard of divination, I've never heard of this prophecy before. It's interesting.
Interesting is a word.
He was the patriarch of the family.
Some patriarch.
Was he one of these chains that the book speaks of?
He couldn't be. He's dead. Well,
Maybe
I suppose we don't really know that, do we?
In all of my visions that I've had of this Tharizdun, the chained oblivion, I've always seen 3 figures standing below it.
I'm genuinely baffled. I don't know how to react to this.
I'm starting to think that maybe this is not just about finding my family secrets. We might have some real things going on that could affect a lot of people.
It's called Chained Oblivion. Yeah, I do believe you may be correct. Okay.
Oh, what the hell was my family up to?
Well, I don't know. Between Ibar and Hadar and this Tharizdun thing, it seems like they were into any manner of extraplanar entity.
Making their way down the list, making deals with things.
Ending the world.
Well,
But
it is.
to what?
It's a little bizarre that your family would go through the trouble of dealing with these entities. No offense, but there are easier planes to contact than the far realms from the material plane.
Right. And to what end? For what purpose? Why would anyone? Why? Is there anything else in the book? Perhaps can I do another investigation check to see if there's any more like notes or anything that would indicate like what they were doing, specifically looking for in this book or anything like that?
Yes. Make me an investigation check.
I am sure that this is going to be a terrible roll, but I'm gonna roll it anyway.
I'll roll it if you don't.
Actually,
if it doesn't work
16.
for you.
Not bad.
You look through this book, flipping through the various pages, and there's a lot of really weird stuff in there. Various entities, living stars, undead planets, listings of creatures, including the cats of Ulthar, and other creatures such as the hounds of Tyndalos, and various other creatures of this nature that live in other places.
Those cats that we fought in the hedge maze, are they in this book?
No, they are not.
Okay.
They are real things that live in this.
Okay.
I think I mentioned that Rerek would know what they are because
Gotcha.
they are native to a country that is very close to Gyptia, and so there's
Cool.
so they are real animals from this plane of existence. There's various other things like that. But at the very, very end of the book, you notice there's a little bit of a dog ear on what should be the end paper glued to the cover.
Can I pick it? I
Yeah.
wanna pick it.
Yeah, here you go. Just
Yeah,
Pick it.
you do manage to peel it back, and there is a note written in the same hand that a lot of some of the other stuff was written in. And it just basically says, "To the love of my life, if this works, I will remake the world in your image. I will love you forever. Happy anniversary." Signed, Wolfgang. Okay.
Whoa. Okay. This dude
that's
was full on crazy.
Yeah, it's a hell of an anniversary gift.
Right. The destruction and recreation of the entire world.
Yes. The other easiest thing to manipulate humans with, other than greed, is love.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, I think it speaks for itself that we're taking this book with us. And
you think.
Percy's
Do we know
gonna-
if Wolfgang is like one of Percy's ancestors?
Yes.
Yeah, he was
yes,
the head of
he
the
is.
house.
Yeah. That was something we found. Was Rerek with us when we no, he wasn't.
No.
You already dropped
Yeah.
him off at the university at that point.
Yeah,
We found
you
out my
weren't with
family
us when we
lineage.
found we found the family tree, and Wolfgang featured prominently.
Yeah. Percy's gonna stick that book in his pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just add a book on the far realms. I don't think it's probably one of those books that doesn't really have a title.
Yeah.
It's just just like a book, and you have to open it up and start reading it to figure out what it is.
A tome.
Yeah, it's just a tome.
Okay. Well, that was yeah.
I really wish my family just had an old haunted house.
Yeah, why couldn't you just be like every other family where they like, I don't know, have an affair or something, or buy a puppy? Like this is a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Well, I guess we know where to come if we ever need poisonous or hallucinogenic plants.
Tempting. Although probably not useful at this particular juncture. Well, okay, so here is the really interesting question. So Wolfgang had plans, something to do with this Hadar or Tharizdun, one of these creatures. they clearly haven't gone correctly. So I suppose the question is, what was he attempting to do? And how has it gone wrong?
Or did it go right?
Well, I mean, I suppose I just assumed that his goal wasn't disappearing the entire family out from underneath him. But I suppose we don't even know enough to know that that isn't exactly what was meant to happen. So, yeah, you present an interesting point. More questions, more and more questions.
Is that all the items we found?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, I don't know what we're to do about this now until we learn more. I just,
Well,
again, we're just left with more questions.
I mean, who else is from the far realms but the little plant downstairs that's talking? Maybe we should ask it stuff.
Well, yeah, but he said he didn't know anything about.
What my family was
I guess
doing.
he could be lying. I don't know. Perhaps they brought him here in order to get more information about that realm.
Malice did mention that it's a deterrent for whatever else affected the estate.
Maybe Dorothea brought it here as a failsafe.
Ah, right. Dorothea did summon it, or bring it here. However, she did that.
And the note in the book did say she didn't think it was a good idea, whatever Wolfgang was.
Yes.
So it would appear that she was firmly against whatever action it was that Wolfgang was planning. And this was her way to maybe prevent it or mitigate it in some way.
Can't say, but this is
Let's
the
ask
one
them.
part of the house that I don't fear for my life in. I guess as long as we don't defend Malice.
Perhaps maybe we should ask him if he knows anything about the entities we found in this book.
Exactly. That's
an intelligent idea. Let's go do that now.
All right.
So we'll head back downstairs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And of course, the giant plant Malice is still sitting there. At this point, you do see him kind of like rocking side to side, swaying his tentacles before somehow he notices you. Oh, you've returned. Have your questions been answered?
Some of them, and many more have been raised.
Right.
As I expected.
We were hoping you might be able to shed some light on a few things.
Maybe, maybe not.
You're from the far realms, are you not?
Yes. More
You-
from the place between the places in the far realm.
Dorothea was looking into Hadar, and it seems that Wolfgang was looking into the being of Thurisdun.
Ah, yes. Them. So sad. Just hungering. Just insane. No order. No love for anything. Just sadness.
Is that all you can tell us about these entities?
Of course, because that's all they are. Hunger and insanity. They aren't anything more. They don't need to be. They're too big to be anything else.
Okay.
Are you threatened, Malice?
We are all threatened by them. They seek to destroy order. They seek to destroy and warp.
The
I
prophecy. Oh, sorry. I thought you were done.
I don't like it when they destroy things. I've seen many worlds destroyed by them. That's why I like it here. So easy to order, so easy to make correct, so easy to protect.
Okay.
You know the prophecy regarding Ferozun.
I'm not really aware of those things.
I see.
Well, unless any of my compatriots can think of anything else to ask, you've been very helpful, and I appreciate that, Alice. I hope this is the beginning of a fruitful relationship.
Plant puns.
Oh, does he know what this scroll does? Do you know what this scroll does?
I'm sure it can do something. She was a very interesting character. She used to ingest some of the plants and have visions. I think there's still some of them up there. It might be worth a try.
Okay, so just to be clear, my penchant for intoxicants is being encouraged by an extra planar plant? Because I was under the impression that was a dreadful idea, but enable the shit out of me. I mean,
yeah, but I'll go take some clippings of those.
Okay.
So do we smoke them or do we juice them? I don't know, snort them?
I don't know her exact process, but you can always just throw whatever at the wall and see what sticks, I believe they say.
Where did you learn that?
And there's no better time than the present to try these things. You have burning questions.
All
Can I
right.
insight check the plant?
Yes, you may.
I will also check the plant.
I'm not questioning anyone who says that it's a good idea to intoxicate myself.
Percy has a unnatural 20.
Unnatural 20.
Just a 12.
Lark, this is kind of suspicious. The fact that it's saying, oh, let's try it right now. Kind of suspicious. Percy, yeah, this plant is up to something. It's going to do something once you have it wants you to take it, presumably because then you won't fight back against whatever it's going to do.
Then it'll make me into a plant gardener. While I do definitely agree with having more answers would be amazing, I do think having our minds addled by drugs might be dangerous as we're about to venture further into the house.
Also, what time is
they're
it?
Plants. It's just plants. It's natural.
Yes.
Maybe once we get back to Darkmar, we can try.
Let's just bring samples with us.
It's your loss.
Not really, because we'll still have the plants.
Okay, so should we go upstairs and collect some of this?
Yeah, Percy will take some clippings.
Why does he get to go?
You can take some as well.
When we're up there alone, I'm like, the plant is up to something. You do not eat them right now.
he seemed like a nice guy. I don't I mean, well, as far as extra planar plants go, can he hear us? Okay, so I guess we'll like check out some of the jars she had. You said some of them were labeled like that they were hallucinogens.
Yeah, they were. It seems because she had poisons and hallucinogens, she very carefully labeled them so that things wouldn't happen.
Yeah, definitely don't want to mix those up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take a little bit of that. Maybe there is some truth that she would do it for getting her mind enlightened, but I don't want to be a eternal plant garden or person, so not right now.
Okay. Well, fine. I suppose tomorrow's another day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what time is it? Is it like dark?
No. It's probably getting close to starting to get dark since you did have to walk a little bit to get to the house. I'd say it's probably maybe 4:30 in the afternoon.
Gotcha. Yes, we'll head back downstairs. You've been very helpful, Alice. But I think we'll be on our way for now. I'm sure we'll be back.
Yes, I'm sure you will be back. Many questions have been left unanswered. But goodbye for now.
Yeah, goodbye. We'll leave.
Fine. Arthur's really heartbroken that he does not get to intoxicate himself right just now.
Not in the middle of the job.
I do some of my best work not sober, I will have you know. Okay, maybe not my best work, but
also that's probably like a really bad example for a 15-year-old dragon person.
Should we continue on to the house then?
Yeah, that's I suppose if we're not gonna get to,
Yeah, we'll keep walking down the path.
As you head through the garden, admiring the lovely flowers and tulips and trees of various types, you do see in your peripheral vision some things moving in the shadows that are presumably other things that inhabit the garden. But of course, the garden eventually ends, and so does the verdant green and lushness. It instead returns to the regular Gothian grays and browns, and occasional hints of reds and oranges as you continue up a relatively steep hill towards the house. Its facade, huge, towering, stone, with many windows reflecting whatever light is coming through the clouds from the sun. And you get to the very large patio and the hill that overlooks the rest of the estate. At the base, you see the garden in its lushness with its greenhouse. You see what is left of the hedge maze with the asteroid still in the crater. You see the graveyard and the carriage house and the guardhouse, the lake and its lopsided lake house, the winery and the stables, all in plain view. The entirety of the estate is before you. And so is the house, with its many towers, gabled roofs, windows. It seems the house is still and dark. But if experience has told you anything, there could be anything in this house. Any horrible monster, spirit, entity, what have you. And the doors stand before you, firmly shut, with the Kruetzwald crest of a winged lion. And that is where we are going to end the episode. So join us next week as we finally... Technical snafus, you gotta love them. So join us next week as we finally venture into the titular dark house to see what horrors lay within. Are they worse, or will the party get a bit of a reprieve? No one knows. So join us next week as we see just how dark this dark house is.